is Esther, for those of you who have not met me. I want to thank everybody for coming here today. I know this issue has been contentious, to say the least, and combative. I don't want to make this meeting about this today. They asked homeowners to come today to talk, brainstorming session, to try to figure out what we can do to fix our community and to fix the problems that have been ongoing for a long time. This meeting's going to stop at noon, so I'm going to stop all public comment about 15 minutes before, but everyone's going to have an opportunity to speak that wants to speak. I ask you to stick to the facts as much as you know them, but I ask you to stick to theft and mismanagement. I'm not going to discuss utilities or every other issue that we have in the association right now. This is the issue at hand today that I'm going to ask everyone to be part of. I bought my house here in 2012, and I have to tell you guys I love Ocean Pines. I've been coming down to this area for 15 years. We moved here from our house in Ocean City, and I absolutely love the Pines. I plan on retiring here in 5 years. So when I saw these issues going on, I became very passionate about it. Having been a businesswoman and still a businesswoman, the way things are being done is just not ethical. It's lack of a better word, it's not ethical. Let me start off the meeting by saying this is not a witch hunt. I know you've all seen me post this on the forum. It's not a witch hunt, it's not a blame game. We have serious problems here that need to be addressed. So just pointing fingers at everybody is just not going to help the situation. The problem facing the Ocean Pines did not occur under this board alone. This has spanned over years of boards. And this shows me one thing. We do not have the ability to self-govern or run our HOA ourselves. The sweeping under the carpet to preserve Ocean Pines' great community status, secret meetings, looking the other way attitude, not having people arrested for stealing, not collecting on members' accounts at the golf clubs. These are just the tip of the iceberg. If you take a look at the packet that I gave you, which I'm not going to go over in too much detail, I wanted to give everyone a little sampling of the things that have been sent to me over the last couple of weeks since I've announced this meeting. You'll see I posted in there, put in there the letter from Dave Stevens. I posted his letter that he put on the forum for those who didn't see it because he outlines in great detail what needs to be done in this community. I put the letter in there from Brett. Now, you can say what you want. I know Brett's here. He knows my feelings. I was one of the people at the pool this year that was bitching about Brett. I told Brett to his face. I was calling for his head, all right? And I'll be public about it, and I told him that myself. Problem is, guys, Brett's not the problem. Brett came in as an unpaid position. He came in and with obviously not enough or oversight at all by our board. You can only blame this man so much, and it's unfair blame. It's not a point to be argued. It is the fact. Going forward, I want to spell out my thoughts and pretty much where I think we need to go, but then I'm going to turn this meeting over to you. So, at this point, I understand there's been other groups. I think it was called the Pickleball Revolution, was one of the groups that was told to me. Concerned citizens of Ocean Pines that have tried to change things. I can't answer for them, but I can tell you that I'm committed to making this change happen. I'm committed to transparency. This is not something I can do by myself. I think I went around and pretty much introduced myself to everybody here. I can't do this by myself. You can't just come to one meeting and expect me to come in on a white horse and figure it all out. It's not going to happen that way. I'm asking for community support. I'm asking for us to do a grassroots effort to work with the board, the current board, and the current GM to try to fix it. I'm not here looking to take heads. I want to work with the board with you, the people in our community. We have to have more of a say. This meeting is being recorded, as Stuart told you. It will be on YouTube for everyone to look at. After the meeting, we'll be putting together notes from this meeting of the priorities that we've decided need to be addressed. Here are things as I see it. The amount of phone calls, emails, text messages that I've gotten from people in the community, active employees, former board members, has been staggering. Number one, we need an outside neutral management group to come in and run HOA. I know that we're talking to someone to come in and run the food and beverage. It's not enough. We need a professional company to come in with no ties to anybody here. To come in, take control, and run this like a business, which it needs to be. This can only be done by an outside third party. You'll see in your package there was an estimate we got from an outside management company for $159,000. I had someone contact me and they said, you're going to cost us a lot more money. Let me ask everybody a question. How much money do you think has been stolen or mismanaged in this community? I will bet you it's over $159,000. So you got to look at the bigger picture here. The forensic audit. I was very happy to see the board voted to do the forensic audit. The problem is, has anybody here worked in finance? Show of hands? Okay. Okay. You follow the money, right? A term in finance, you follow the money. That's where you start. You don't start with food and beverage. You start with the accounting department. You follow the money to see where things are going. That's what you have to look at here. The fact that we're starting with food and beverage is a waste of time. Let me ask everybody here, people who've worked in business, where have you ever worked in business that a controller gets denied access to a safe in one of the departments? I can tell you as a businesswoman, I've never had it, and I've worked in the mortgage community for 31 years. One of my jobs at a large company in New York was fraud. 3 times it took the controller to be able to get access to the safe at the country club. Why?
Because they were hiding something.
That could be, okay? But the question is, no controller should be denied access to our safes in any department. They should have instantaneous access. I can tell you that when the feds walk into a company, they get instantaneous access, okay? There is no, we'll get back to you next week, okay? I heard another disturbing story that I felt was worth sharing that happened at the golf club a couple weeks ago. An employee had reported mismanagement of funds. They went and opened the safe was short. And then there was a sign that was posted on the employee board that said, "Who's the rat?" Now I work with unions, if those of you in unions know what that means. Okay, we have the big rat outside of buildings at times. That's what was left on the employee's bulletin board. And then the employees were fired. So that doesn't smell too bad, does it? Okay. So again, if you start an investigation in the accounting department, it will lead you where you want to go. You follow the trail of the money. My suggestions are pretty brief. I'd like to put together, with people hopefully here and who haven't shown up today, watchdog groups. Not attack groups, okay, not ravaged dogs. Groups of 3 for each department in the community that can work with the board, that can go to the board and share the information that they're finding and they're seeing and they're observing in those departments. I'd also like to have a group that would work with me, working with the GM and the board of directors. Again, not my intention to do this the ugly way, although I must be honest and tell you I'm prepared, okay? I want to work with the board. I keep saying it publicly. I will go other directions if I feel we can't get that relationship, but I think we can. I think we can if we stop the rumor mill and have facts coming out from people who are involved in these watchdog groups. The bottom line is, guys, we can't change the past. We can't get the money back that's lost. You need to accept that. It's fine. However, we need to determine how it's happening, where it's happening. We need to determine, is this just bad actors in each department, or is this an overall problem? Our community is 50 years old. Do these bylaws still apply to our community? Or have we outgrown the bylaws? Is that the bigger problem that we have to talk about? To run a referendum. Again, don't know, just throwing my thoughts out and want to discuss it with you guys today. These are just some of the things that I'm asking. We did a deep dive audit. Can anybody here tell me, have the 23 pages of corrective action been put in place? Does anybody here know the answer to that question? Well, we're homeowners, don't you think we should? Transparency, okay? It comes down to that. This is our community. The board works for us, just like our elected government officials. It is our right to challenge, question, and demand response, just like you would with your congressman, your senator, and the president. Whole nother conversation. But it is important that if we have to do a referendum, which I'm hoping we don't, but maybe we do with bylaws, that we get the right law firm. I've had 4 that have been referred to me in the last week that are experienced in these situations. It's really sad when everyone has heard about the mess in our community. I talked to the Consumer Protection up in Baltimore. You know what the woman said to me? We heard all about the mess down there. That's what I was told. When I see articles like the mutiny in the Pines, doesn't make me too proud, okay? Here's the big wrench, and having been in real estate many years of my life, this continues. Nobody's going to want to live here. No one's going to want to move here. We're all going to lose our property values, and that's a fact. That's an absolute fact. This is a great community. I don't want to let the past decades, and everyone keeps telling me, Esther, this has been going on for decades. I don't care. I don't want to let the last decades define who we are today and who we can be tomorrow. But I'm going to throw it back to you guys. I can't do this alone. I'm looking for people to be involved. Again, I know these other groups tried. They haven't met me. I'm a very, straightforward person. And I have no problem fighting for the cause. Again, not a witch hunt. All right, I'm going to open up to the floor, so who would like to speak?
I'd like to ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
You said, Steve Lynn, you had originally said that we can't run the HOA ourselves, which is 100% correct. But now you're talking about cooperating. Which way do you want to go as far as a management company, and what's the time frame? Or
Here's an example. I'd like to sit with the board and push hard to get RFPs out to HOA companies who can run our organization. Not just talk about it in a board meeting. Follow through. All right? And work with the board in making sure they get out. One of the problems, and it's not just this board, and I can't just keep looking at this board, it really is boards over the years. We talk about doing it, what happens. Like I said to you, 23 pages of corrective actions. Do you know they've been installed?
yeah, I know what you're saying.
You know what I mean? So yeah, so my direction is with us to basically push the board this direction, to get the RFPs and to bring in an outside management company and admit that we can't do it. Next.
So, the 159.
Excuse me, ma'am. Can you come up to the microphone because not everybody will be able to hear you?
Or you can stand and yell like me.
The 159,000, that's, I assume, per year to manage Ocean Pines. If that were the case, would we still have a paid general manager? Because I know the one private Red Hill was making more than 159,000 a year.
And I'm going to be honest with you, I don't know the answer to that question. That is things that we'll learn as we go. I can't answer that question. This is my first time. Peggy?
Get paid when he was acting GM.
Oh, I know that. I was talking about, I said the one prior to.
Oh, that was Mr. Thompson. Okay. Thompson.
Like to bring in, and I think Matt Ward was the name that was told to me, to bring in the group to be an HOA for the food, but it's not enough. We need a HOA, the group come in and run everything, everything. You're going to take away a third party who comes in who doesn't live here, doesn't know us, is a business to them. That's it. You make business decisions when you're not emotionally tied, not these other decisions. You don't, no offense, I don't care if it's your brother's son's uncle who's working at the yacht club. He's going to be fired if he steals. Okay? When you're emotionally involved, you unfortunately can't make the right decisions all the time. A third party can. Next. I'm sorry.
Hi, Esther.
Hi.
Frank Daly.
Hi, Frank.
Okay, for more than a year, I myself have asked for forensic audit. Okay, but I think it's kind of important that we look at this as a two-track system. Brett has alleged fraud, theft, and corruption. That is a legal law enforcement issue. And then there's mismanagement. Unfortunately, you can't throw people in jail because they're poor managers, even though you might want to. Okay? So if you look at the two tracks, and in the interest of full disclosure, twice in the last year, I have been with my attorneys at the 11th hour for filing injunctions down at district court to force the board of directors to do their job under the HOA Act. The most recent was for the forensic audit. Because when you're alleging theft, fraud, and corruption, and when it's somewhat, those allegations are somewhat buttressed by a second board member who was sitting at the time, that's an issue when you have to act. And that's an issue where you're required to act under the HOA Act, okay? And the board has effectively, I think, handled that. I don't know how many of you have read the RFP, but if the board follows the RFP, they're going to go off to qualified forensic auditing firms. They're going to sit down with them and go over all the issues, including the issues that were in closed meetings. The auditing firm is then going to develop an audit plan, and the audit plan is going to be based on where the forensic auditors think they should start in terms of following the money, rather than where the board thinks they should start based on what the board wants to do.
That's it.
That is a good procedure, okay? By the way, twice just tangentially, once as a plaintiff and once as an employee, I have been involved with cases where FBI's gotten involved. So for the people that want law enforcement to say something, tell you what, law enforcement isn't going to tell you jack. The most recent one, the FBI was setting in an office for somebody, 3 agents for more than 2 years, and they haven't said one damn word. Okay? So don't expect law enforcement to come and tell you what's happening. It's just not their nature. They're not wired to do it. They're not going to do it. As far as the forensic audit, I think we're in a holding pattern because, quite frankly, if the board follows the instructions and the guidance of the forensic auditors, they're doing exactly what they should be doing. That was the most recent one, where it's going to go ask for an injunction to demand a forensic audit. If we went today to the court and said, hey, we want you to start in public works, the court's going to look at us and say, they're already doing a forensic audit. We're not going to get involved in the hands of how to do it. That's the auditors and the board. So that route is closed until the audit is basically planned and started. Now, the second thing is mismanagement. And I'll just say this. My opinion, for decades, okay, the general managers, well, first, decades, but in the time certainly that I've been here, which is 5 years, the general managers have not engaged with effective oversight of their staff. Brett probably did it more than his predecessor. I have no idea what the predecessor of Bob Thompson did, okay? But there's been poor oversight of the staff. The oversight from the board to the general manager has even been worse. I mean, we're faced with a situation where genetically and institutionally, somebody can allegedly write a plan or take a plan from an internet from an Asian bistro in Atlanta, where, by the way, one of my daughters who's a partner in a large law firm lives. And we can build a $5 million facility based on that. And the question you have to ask yourself, when that investment was made, where was the board? I mean, aren't people supposed to be checking the numbers and challenging where did this plan come from? How are you going to get this amount of revenue? That's what we lack. Now, that's what we can control. And the ways that we can control it is starting off demanding more oversight and more professional oversight from the board. That may lead us into different directions. And my take is, the first thing they have to do is try it. And then once they try it, then we can see if we need changes in the bylaws to make it more effective. But right now, I think that the try is, yeah, you know, we'll do it. But not real effectively.
I think community involvement, more community involvement than just coming to a meeting is needed. Did you ever see a lame duck congressman who's been in office too long and doesn't do anything? How does he get removed from office at the end of the day? When enough people in the community stand up and say he's got to go. Unfortunately, we have a complacent attitude overall in this community. Let's call it what it is. How many people in this community? Frank, how many houses are in this community, do you know?
Pardon?
How many houses in this community? How many people, how many houses, how many homes?
Do I have?
Over 8,000 homes in this community, right?
400 plus.
I'm sorry, how many people are here today?
443.
How many people are here today?
70.
How many, right, how many people, so out of 8,000 plus houses, when you give complacency, and I'm gonna keep going back to my history with regular politics, government politics, when you are complacent, this is what happens. When you just say, I want the board to figure it out, guys, let us know what happens, this is what happens. Yes?
There's 8,400 plus or minus
Yeah.
lots. There's not 7,000 houses. And of the houses, more, or of the lots, which is what we deal with as membership, over half don't live within a 2-hour drive of here.
I would agree with you, and I live 3 hours away. Okay.
And you're here.
And I'm here.
Every year.
Yeah, listen, and I hear what you're saying, and it's human nature. I get it, it's human
People are
nature.
not reading the form,
Yeah.
they don't get the Gazette.
That's
they
it.
don't know what's
And here's the problem, that, you know, they're the same people that I'll tell they need to do is to shut the hell up. You know, it's just time to have a call for action. It's no different than regular politics. It's time for a call for action. If this community is as upset as they sound on the form, they need to get involved. Okay, or it's going to be the same old as it has been for decades. That's it. So you all have friends that aren't here Talk to your friends that didn't show up. You need to be involved. Or just accept it. I'm personally not ready to accept it. It's not in my makeup. Okay? And I may lose this, as I said to Joe in the forum. I may very well lose my battle here. I may. The other groups have been unsuccessful. I very rarely am unsuccessful. And especially if I have the right people working for the right cause. Getting rid of the animosity, getting rid of the anger, and just working on the facts. Keeping it business. But you have to be involved. Next, Dana.
I hear people, I don't want to kick people out of their homes, okay? But I hear people that don't pay HOA fees, and I never hear anything being done about it. If nothing's being done about it, it's such an example. Why should I pay HOA?
Well, that falls under mismanagement and oversight, and I agree with you. Again, let me ask you a question. I'm going to throw you in the spotlight here. Okay, so if we did a watchdog group, would you be willing to be part of that watchdog group that reports back to the board, fact, not rumor, of what's happening with that situation?
Well, if I know what's involved and I can help, then
Okay,
yeah.
that's what I'm asking you. So you're right, we've heard the same rumor, just like we heard the rumors about the inflated invoices from Public Works and the golf memberships and the yacht club. You know, I have a story that was given to me from the yacht club. So a delivery came this summer to the yacht club. And Dasani Water, we're paying double what we would pay driving down the street to Walmart. Double. That comes down to oversight, right? That comes down to board oversight. Who's watching the house? Okay? These are just a couple examples. I was telling Peggy the amount of emails and texts and phone calls that I've gotten in the last 2 weeks since I announced this meeting. I'm driving my poor secretary crazy. We have a whole filing cabinet for Ocean Pines now. But the point is, guys, that every department has a problem here. Every department. I asked Steve, we were out in the hallway, and I said to Steve, where in your lifetime in a business does someone say no to a controller opening up a department safe? Where is that done? Ocean Pines. Okay? But this is the stuff we have to address, all right? To just go on the forum and just bitch and complain and say, well, other people tried to do it. It doesn't help us. It doesn't help us. I'm asking everyone here to get involved. I will stay in the forefront. I will be available, but I can't do it by myself. Do you want to fix the problems here? That's the question.
I have something to say.
Please.
I met the new controller at the board meeting.
What's your
and-
name?
My name, I'm sorry, Susan Childs. My husband.
No camera.
It's off.
But anyway, I met him at the board meeting, and I know he's only been here for a few weeks. I'm sort of in that business. I didn't know him, but I know where he came from, and I know who he followed. And I believe our new finance officer here is very, very capable. He's probably very capable of overseeing his own audit if he would just get, I feel like he's probably been handcuffed. Well, first of all, he's new. That's the first thing. But secondly, he has more than enough experience and knowledge to run any kind of forensic audit if he had somebody in his office that he could rely on to do it. I don't necessarily, in my opinion only, I don't necessarily think throwing another $150,000 at something is the answer. I do believe that we need to give the new current finance officer the tools and ability to be able to do his job properly. I mean, he looks like a young guy compared to me, but I believe that he has enough knowledge and background that he could do the job if he was just allowed to do it.
Let me ask you a question. A forensic audit, okay?
I know.
It truly, I know you know it, we talked earlier. This has to be done by an outside company. It can't be done internally.
The problem with
It can't.
using an outside audit, an outside firm, Esther, is somebody has to oversee it. And if you let
Correct.
the board oversee it, they ain't gonna get in.
Let me ask you a question. Are you willing to be on the committee to
I've
oversee the
tried to be
forensic
on
audit?
committees here.
That's what I'm asking right
You can't
now.
get on any
But
committees
I'm
here
asking,
because
I'm
they're all
asking you,
full.
are you willing to be on a committee that's going to
Well,
oversee?
absolutely.
Okay,
Ever
there we
since
go.
I bought, I've tried to be on a committee, and there's no spaces available on any
Times are
committees.
changing. Times are changing.
Space is available now.
Well,
Yes.
Oh, please don't put that on there for my husband to see.
All right, go ahead, sir.
Yeah, my name is Bob Harden, and I am a typical Ocean Pines complacent homeowner. 22 years I've lived here. In 22 years, they've only had a budget that ended in the black once. Every time you try to be an activist against things or recommend changes in the community, you get put in your place. I was a strong advocate for fixing the north entrance bridge because of all the people that were doing significant damage to it. I was told, well, you are trying to ruin the ambiance of this community. So I backed away. When they had a board, when the county council had a hearing about the Ocean Pines Bridge, I attended that to testify and document the amount of money the organization was spending to fix this bridge. What did they do? They turned the obligation over to the county. So now the North Peak Bridge is owned by the county.
Not so.
Well, let's put it this way then. That bridge has been a sore point in terms of expense, in my opinion. I may be missing some information, but at that testimony for the county, they were taking over the road aspect of it. Maybe they didn't take the bridge itself, but anyhow.
Not
that
to interrupt you,
aside.
so but your basic point is that you can't become an advocate here, is
Right.
that what you feel?
Oh, yeah. Every time you make a recommendation, in my experience, you get penalized.
Has anyone else had that same experience here?
I know someone who has.
I decided to donate an automobile
You've got to be on the
to
mic.
breast cancer.
I got
Yeah,
it,
you gotta
yeah.
come up with the mic, they just can't hear you.
You know, so I decided to donate my car to breast cancer. I take the tag off of it. I get a certified letter from Ocean Pines that costs $25 to $35 to come out and tell me that I had to move my automobile because it didn't have a tag on it. What was the solution? Put a cover on it. They never said a word about a vehicle with a cover on it. So anyhow,
Here, talk to me,
you know, I'm a complacent resident because you get nowhere with this organization. You know, I was under the
It's on, he's got to pull it closer.
I was under the impression that the general manager had very little authority. Now I'm hearing, well, maybe he did have authority, but it seemed to me over the years the board has tried to manage every little nuance and every little nitty-gritty activity that goes on in this organization. And the general manager gets paid a huge salary with little responsibility. People say to me, I'm thinking about living in Ocean Pines. What do you get for your association fee? My $950 association fee. Is that what it's going to be this year?
It's everybody's is different depending on
Well, if you're a waterfront, it's a couple $100 more. But the point is, what I say that you get out of that $950, they cut the grass in the median strip. You know, they don't do anything to deal with water management and flooding. And I can tell you there's some people who are not in this room now have bought houses thinking they were going to have a nice, comfortable place to live and find out that they're underwater when it rains less than an inch. You know, it's it has been a total sham in terms of, you know, what this organization gets as a return from our fee.
Let me ask you a question, what is your solution?
Well, everything in this community is nickel-dimed. I was an advocate for outsourcing the golf contract. They brought in an outsourced company. Did they give those people responsibility? Yeah, superficially, but when it came time to replace all the greens, who took the responsibility and the financial risk to replace the greens? You and I did. At least we paid for all that stuff, so the manager and the management got the benefit of us homeowners paying more money. Every year that I have been here, it has been some plateaus, but I believe when I initially moved in, the assessment was $250. I've always called it a tax. I'm paying $932, and it's going to be $30 more or $35 more this year. And can you ask me what have I gotten for all that money? I really haven't gotten anything. You know, at the last board meeting, at the last general meeting, I asked if they had some way of dealing with water management to keep all the mosquito population down because of all the still water that sits around in the drainage ditches. And I was told, oh, we have a machine that can go through and clean out all of the pipes that in your driveways. He said, come by and you can take a look at the machine. Well, there is no machine that I know of.
I have the keys.
But anyhow, I'll wrap up by saying that all I do is live here. Yeah, I own a house here. As far as the community goes, my sway has been, the hell with it. They'll do what they're going to do anyhow. It's all political, highly political.
No, you can't hear me, it's too bad.
So stand up. Stand up.
I'm here because of the promise of transparency and facts. So I have a tendency to speak up when I hear nonsense. In the last 19 years, our audited statements showed 12 of those 19 years with a positive. Only 7 with negative. Now, are the negatives good? No. But it isn't every
Has the
year.
outlook ever had a positive result?
Yeah, right here. We got
Major amenities, the only one that makes any money that I'm aware of is the oceanfront property.
You can break it down any way you want to. This building doesn't make any money either.
I know, but who?
Overall, audited statement, bottom line, Ocean Pines has made money 12 of the last 19 years.
I find that very, very.
Look at the audit report.
I
know,
don't
if it's
shoot the
an audit
messenger,
report,
I'm just bringing
that's
you the
fine, but I'm
facts.
saying, I'm a community member, have they ever, why don't I know that?
You have, I have the statements in my office. They
I
don't
pay attention to this community because I'm sick and tired of paying money for nothing.
Listen, I will tell you that a lot of things that are supposed to be over to the community are not. I know that I asked 3 different people because I wasn't down here to go to the administration office to get certain documents that I'm supposedly have the right to receive, and we've gotten pushback on it. That's a fact. That's a fact, all right? I'm not gonna have to call my lawyer every time I want a document that I as a homeowner have a right to see.
I've had to.
Okay, but that's a problem. That's a transparency problem, all right? And it's not right for everybody to have to call their lawyer to get what our bylaws say we have the right to get upon request. Simple.
The law says.
40-some days on the Esther.
I'm sorry?
They don't have to give it to you right away.
Yeah, he's right.
You gotta look at the HOA act.
Yeah. Yes. I see.
Yeah, looking over all the papers that were handed, you know, it looks like we have 2 problems. One is dishonesty.
Stand
Looking at
up.
all the papers that are here, Rising is two main problems. One is dishonesty, and the other is mismanagement. Okay. So listing all these things that you listed here, it seems like you're uncovering and finding the dishonesties. Okay. So what is being done? And I'm just it's a simple, small thing. The $124,000 to the golf club. Is somebody out collecting it?
Good question, isn't it?
The what?
We don't know.
Well, it says people owe the golf club $124,000. Whether it was vendors or, I don't know the exact numbers already, I'm just reading
You're looking
here.
at an accounts receivable list from a year ago, and you have no idea if they were paid or not paid.
Right.
If you
Okay,
think
so
the
anybody that
Holiday
can
Inn
tell us
is
that?
not paying their bills and all those oceanfront hotels, I think they are.
They are or they aren't? Or is this?
Well, it could be some,
Found that report.
Uh-huh.
It was generated out of the system over at the golf course that most people don't see. I've even been told by a board director, he didn't know it existed. And somehow gets rolled up into summary reports or something that maybe the board members and we see. Some of that money could have been collected, because that was an old report, it's over a year old.
Okay.
But those reports can be run anytime. And they've got one that's been running this month. I asked the GM, did he have them? Yeah, he's got that report. I don't know what's on that report today. I don't know what got collected of that $124,000. Nobody has told me. I will tell you hotels are involved.
sure they
And
are.
packages they sell. I will tell you people calling from across the bridge wanting to set up a package deal for a number of people to come play golf. They're involved. I will tell you some homeowners out here are involved. I will tell you it's a group of people that on that report owed a lot of money for 30, 60, 90, 120 days.
Okay.
Those reports can be generated. And yeah, there's probably a fair credit thing that says we're not supposed to see the homeowners' names. I don't know if that applies to the hotels, maybe. But did we go collect that money when they didn't pay up? No, they just weren't paying it. And if you understood how the hotels book these deals and put a person's credit card on it to reserve, come in and get a certificate or something to play golf, show it at the pro shop, they get to go play golf on the golf course. The hotel hadn't paid us. And we got maybe go after it. Maybe they do pay us.
Is there a procedure to make sure that doesn't happen?
I would like to think there might be.
Or is
Can we put you on that watchdog group?
Choices again, oversight,
Okay.
management, transparency. Come down the same three things.
Show me it's been done.
And then like just the beach club, that's the amenity that I seem to like more than the other ones.
Yeah.
It seemed like all the years in the past, that thing worked fine, made money, everybody was happy with it. They made all these changes last year with regards to the passes and everything. And it just seemed like a disaster, okay? You had all sorts of people, the kids that were working there, doing nothing, because there was nobody in there eating food and drinking their beer and whatever. So it just seems like, if you could turn back the clock to the way you had it, without having a committee and studying this thing for the next 5 years, just turn back the things to the way they were 2 and 3 years ago.
The way they were didn't necessarily work either.
What's that?
The way they were didn't necessarily work either. There was a lot of theft, all right? Theft by bartenders. Theft is giving away a free drink too, okay? Theft is wiping out a bill for your friends that came in for dinner. All right, there's more of that that's going on maybe we even realize. It's just, I've just been getting the information over the course of the last 2 weeks. Again, who wants to be part of that group that looks into that? I want to keep throwing it out there to everybody because it's all of us.
But the parking passes, the whole, people weren't using the club at all, okay? That's not a theft thing, that's just a mismanagement thing, okay? And if the parking lot was too crowded on Memorial Day or 4th of July or whatever, so what? For the most of the time during the summer, the thing was utilized the way it should be, with lots of people coming to the parking lot, there'd be spaces and, but it just seems.
Did every system work? No. Did every idea work this summer?
And then with
Obviously not.
the thing you're talking about theft, can't they figure a way to hire honest people?
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you, I'm a businesswoman, and that's always a struggle, okay?
Not everybody's a crook,
Yeah, but you know what? Greed is a powerful motivation. You know what? A lot of people don't think they're stealing when they give their friend a drink at the bar, but you are. Okay? When you're giving your family a free dinner, it is stealing. Okay? You're stealing from the community at that point. I mean, that's what people don't, the average person, I hate to say it, well, I didn't steal. I just gave, Joe a free drink. It's just a one drink, times 50. Someone's got to pay for it, but someone has to pay for it, the food and the alcohol. Then you go down to how much are we paying for the food and the alcohol? Double the cost on a Dasani case of water? Really? Why? Why? You have to have the right purveyors. You have to have the right people doing order. Going back to management, oversight, transparency. The right people doing the right job. One of the reasons why I'm pushing to bring in a professional HOA company who knows how to do this. Okay? Who honestly will bring in people and hire people and not be afraid to fire them.
The new general manager was in charge of HOA, where he came from?
Yes, he has experience, and I have yet to speak with him, and I think he's a good place for us to start. And I think we owe it to the new GM to give him a chance. I think we owe it to him to talk with him on the concerns that we come from this meeting. I feel bad, the guy's walking into a mess. You want to be honest with you, who the hell wants that job? Right.
Can I see by a show of hands how many people would be interested in working on a group that would be a watchdog group? Okay, those folks that raised your hands, if you can meet with Esther and me after the meeting so that we could make sure that we have the people that are interested so that we can actually take an action. Thank you.
Yes, Steve.
Hi, my name is Steve Tuttle. I just want to put a little different spin on some stuff, I guess. My wife and I moved to the Pines in 2015. We bought a house in 2014. We moved here. We both retired. Soon after I came here, I realized there was this thing called a forum for candidates for the board, but it was only held during the week, and we were part-timers. So I contacted the administration, and I was told through the election committee that we could not have another forum and couldn't have one on a Saturday. I said, okay, I asked Joe Reynolds, what about that? You can do one anytime you want. I contacted the Ocean Pines Library. We had a forum there. We had a bunch of candidates come. We had over 200 people show up. You can do things. Soon after that, I was asked to be on the election committee. There's our committees that you can get involved with and help and do the kind of watchdog thing, even on some of the committee level. that I would really encourage people. Don't, you know, I would love to see this many people come to a board meeting. If you want to hold your board accountable, show up, folks. You can't sit around and not show up.
Steve, to your point, hi, Garcia, owner since 2015, I think. I do feel that the deck is a bit stacked against part-time residents. So many of the meetings are held during the week. Yes, we can watch them on TV, but we can't participate. You write to the board, sometimes I get a response, sometimes I don't, but I don't feel that part-time owners have a very large voice here.
Just to follow up on his comment, I've been here for 20 years. I am.
What's your name?
Finished,
What's your name, sir?
John O'Connor. I'm finishing up my second 6-year term on the Budget and Finance Committee. All right? And the advisory committees, and there's a lot of good people on them that do a lot of things in advising the board. The board may not always listen to them, but at the very least that they're aware of what's going on. All right? And Marty was right on his numbers. I think out of the past 19 years, 12 of them have been pluses. Unfortunately, the pluses were a small amount and the negatives were big amounts.
And this community is far from broke. We have $7.8 million in reserve. You know, we're not, you know, why are we raising our assessments $30-some? Another question. Yes.
That's the question. I went to a couple of meetings before. My name is Susan Sewell. I've been here for about 8 years.
Can you stand up, please?
Yeah, when we went to the meetings, when we were talking about the big deficits at the yacht club and the beach club and all, they had, the man, I don't know his name, stood up and said he was some representative from, had been on the board previously in Ocean Pines. And he said that we should not worry about our dues going up because we had enough in reserves that whatever happened, that would be taken care of and that we weren't going to have to worry about any raise in our assessments. And then, you know, here it's been on the forum. First it was $60 and then it's down to $30 and whatever it is. And the second thing is I feel like that the board, general manager, I don't know who because I'm not any business minded at all, but they seem to, I feel like they do what they want because they know that they're not held accountable for the money, that they can always come back to us and raise our dues or get the monies like that. So I don't necessarily believe that they always have our best interests at heart because I think that they know they have a recluse to come back to us.
Are you ready to be on a committee that sits with the board and challenges these questions?
At this point in time, I would have to say no, but that doesn't mean I wouldn't be in the future.
Anyone else? There was a woman, I'm sorry, Jeff.
Can I use the mic?
Sure.
My voice is up too good. One of the problems in the community is not enough people participate and go to the meetings. They don't look in our documents that run this place, and quite frankly, too many people, frankly, don't know what the heck they're talking about. Have you heard some of that here today? Believe me. The idea of changing the bylaws, I don't believe that the members of the association have the right to change the bylaws. But I think the board can then say, we don't like that change, and we're going to change it back again. And the reason is that in the hierarchy of the documents that rule this place, you've got first Maryland law, primarily the Maryland Corporation Law. Next, you've got the Maryland HOA Act. Next, you've got declarations of restrictions for this community. And the board of directors cannot change the restrictions. Only the members can. And then by section, and there are 20 sections in this place. So trying to get anything changed in the DRs is not impossible, but it's next to impossible. Then you have the Articles of Incorporation. And only the board of directors can change those. The members can't change them. Joe Moore, who was the corporate counsel for OPA for probably 30 years, said, not a direct quote, while the members have the right to change the bylaws, the board doesn't have to listen to those changes, except for political purposes. In other words, the members could vote to change the bylaws, the board could say we're not going to do it, and the board will prevail. Now, the board could be voted out of office. It's the only thing you can do to the board essentially. And the one thing that you haven't mentioned here today, excuse me, is the board of directors. If you want to control this place, you're not going to do it with watchdog committees or anything else. It might help a little bit, might make you feel good. The only way you're going to change this place is to elect people, those 7 people to that board who will do whatever it is as a group you want them to do. It's the only way it's going to change. There are 3 positions up this year. 3. So it only takes 1 person on the board plus 3 people elected to have a board majority instantly in August. But I'll tell you what, I've lived here 30 years, so it's like Martin. Boards come and go. You think they're going to do something, they don't do something. And these people are, I don't agree with a lot of things boards have done over the last 30 years, but I'll tell you what, I believe every person that served on this board in their own mind thought they were doing the right thing at the time for this community. And it's a little upsetting to me, watch these people, they put in a lot of time and effort, a lot of time and effort. And I don't think they should be condemned because you may not agree with what they've done. Now, maybe they haven't done right oversight. It's a complicated thing. And in terms of going to the Attorney General's office, when they created the HOA Act and gave people authority to make a complaint, they put it under the Consumer Protection Division of the state of Maryland. So when you go file a complaint against the OPA or whoever, it goes to the same people if you file a complaint about your refrigerator not working. Consumer Complaint Division. So, but I would urge you to primarily, if you're going to focus on anything, focus on the election. 3 board members. It takes 4 to make a majority. So that's what I'm concerned with.
I don't, it's Joe Round. I don't necessarily agree with everything Joe said, but that's the great thing about these meetings, you don't have to. Okay.
Isn't every member on the board, when they first get on the board, this is what they hope to do, to help the community?
Sure.
But there's been board member changes going on forever, and it just gets worse.
I agree, and I gotta be honest with you, that's why, Joe, I agree with you as far as that, yes, the place to start is with the board, but we've had multiple boards, and the problems have gone on for decades. That has been brought to me by even former board members. We keep changing boards, we do. And like I said, you can't blame just this board for the problem. It's not fair to do that. It's boards, and it does come down to oversight. The paper I just handed out to you was an email that was sent to me by a lawyer who lives in our community, wasn't able to be here today. And she did a lot of the legwork this past week with the consumer protection. So I asked her if I could share this email with you guys, which is what I gave to you, on what we can and can't do. This is our community. We do have rights, and we can go the hard way and the expensive way, which I'm willing to do, to change the bylaws if it's needed. But nobody can answer whether it's needed. We can't answer that question yet. We've just begun. We have to have a starting point in this. And the starting point is to work with the current board, at least initially, and the GM to see if we can start seeing some resolution to our issues. You don't want to go right to the path of dismantling the board and changing the bylaws. It may not be needed. But I do think we keep replacing board members. We keep having the same problems. I think board members do go into this wanting to do the best for the community. I'm not going to deny that. I think nobody goes on this board trying to hurt the community. But it's not working. Repeatedly not working. We need an outside homeowners association group to come in here to run us. That's my opinion, but it's just that, an opinion. Yes?
I'd like, I'm Blanche DC on Whitehorse Drive. I'd like to ask Joe Reynolds, who has been here a long time and seen boards come and go, what his opinion would be of having an outside concern come in and run Ocean Pines.
Jeff?
I really don't have any strong opinion one way or the other. But I think the first thing they would do would be hire everybody that's working here now.
Yeah.
And they would oversee them.
Right.
Which is sort of where we're lacking.
But let me ask you a question. let's say they brought in all new people that they said were totally trustworthy, and those people started stealing from the people that were managing us. How do you know that?
You don't.
That's right. So it's not a quick fix, black-white solution.
It's not a quick fix, but we haven't done it. We've tried having new boards come in. We have done that repeatedly. All I'm saying is we haven't done something else. We keep replacing board members hoping that change will happen. But we haven't tried the alternative. I'm suggesting we try the alternative. Do you have a question?
My name's John Walter. I see Brett's here. You answered my post last week about the officer. You took the perp to the office. So we have two versions of the truth, yours and Massey's. Why didn't he just take him to the district attorney and just prosecute the guy?
I don't think you, I don't.
Not everybody knows what you're talking about.
We have a perp that stole at least $2,500, and it could be more. And there's a battle for the truth here.
But
I have to put you on the spot because Massey now, which I'm shocked that he even got on the forum to do this. He has no business doing it. It's a conflict of interest.
And you do understand that there's things that Brett can and cannot talk about at this point. And it's
but
not, I know what you want to get, but you can't. I didn't have, Brett didn't come here, and I know what you're saying, John, but I'm not going to do that to him.
I
I'm
just don't
just not.
understand why we just didn't prosecute him and set a precedent that we're not going to have criminals taking our money.
I would throw the question back to Massey and ask him.
Yeah.
That would be knocking on my door.
Well, guess what?
See, that shouldn't be. That's, but I heard it. I heard that too last night.
Sure.
Yes, sir.
My name is Jackie Owen. I just have a question. Have you or anyone else actually talked with, have you or anyone else actually talked to an HOA that is managed by an outside firm and their success or failure, their opinions? Shouldn't there be a survey done before we
Absolutely.
move further with that?
One of the reasons why this meeting with this group, I have no problem taking lead on things, but I need direction also from my fellow homeowners.
So that is in the works.
That's what I'd like to do with the support of our homeowners here. Again, I can't be a one-man show. I don't mind doing
I'm not
it.
asking you.
But I want support from the group. If the group here thinks, by show of hands, how many people are interested in seeing a proposal for an outside HOA to come in and run us? That's a lot of people. Okay, so to answer your question, I have no problem. Again, I'd like to form a group that has a couple of us that can help. Again, it can't be a one-man show, but like to help me put it together. I want to get quotes. I want to see success stories. I want to go to the communities and see how they're run and visit them. You should go with me.
Not only quotes, but the results and the failures.
Exactly. Absolutely. 100% agree.
Esther, I'm 100% for you, but let's set some expectations here. I lived in Columbia for 12 years and was on the board there that was managed by an HOA company. Okay, right now I deal with real estate developers and construction people worldwide. I will tell you that, in my opinion, any organization capable of coming in and running, as Marty would say, a place that has 8,442 lots, 82 miles of roads, the closest one is more than 1,000 miles away that I know of. And most of them are in California, Arizona, Texas, and Florida. So their ability to come here and manage something on the Eastern Shore is, at best, questionable.
Frank, did you have a question?
Well, to answer the gentleman's question about anyone looking at HOA management, back last summer, Tom Herrick, Dave Stevens, John Viola, and myself spent weeks with...
Excuse me, Brett, can you stand up, please?
We spent weeks with several firms, and the documents that were in the package today, well, they didn't come from me, but they were given to the board last year at the July 27th or 28th board meeting from Langman Norman.
Yes.
And Langman Norman took us through several other communities, and they actually were recommended by the start of conversation from Dave Stevens because of their relationship here in the park. And the premise of HOA management goes beyond just the oversight in the community, but also the systems. And that was the premise of what I was drawn into that conversation on, because the systems that Ocean Pines have as our backbone are antiquated. They're 20 plus years old. They're on, the core data goes back to green screen terminals from IBM. We are in the dark ages, And that's what we're expecting to produce statements and documentation of our day-to-day affairs. Legman Norman brought a complete back-end HOA management system that's in hundreds of other communities that has all the tweaks and kinks already worked out and was incorporated in their fee. So when we're looking right now, there was $400,000 approved by this board in the capital budget for new software. And that was just software. That doesn't account for the servers and the other gear to make that stuff work. I mean, we're over $500,000, probably pushing $750,000 just in some software, where Legum had a proposal that had both the software and the people. And that's where I brought that to the board last year, and to say, did people look at it? Yes, a lot of people did, and there was board support there that unfortunately didn't make it
Right,
through.
did you visit any of the communities that they represented?
Yes, we visited 3 communities.
Frank, not to call you out, but if we get some place, if we, yeah, would you be willing to visit the communities with us? We interviewed HOA companies?
There,
I'm sorry?
to answer your question, yes.
Thank you.
None were as, well, Ocean Pines is the 2nd largest in the state of Maryland. So
No, fourth or fifth.
Okay, well, there
There
were communities of thousands of homes with restaurants, golf courses, and pools that were within the Legum portfolio within a half an hour here.
Anyone else? Yes.
I jumped ahead to the end of this attorney's letter,
Yeah.
and this might be another route. She was told that there was legislation pending before the General Assembly to strengthen HOA membership. And to cut to the end of the paragraph, and she said, of course, it's probably this year's session is probably almost over, but for the future, to push through our state senators and delegates for these changes to be made to strengthen the authority of the Attorney General and to strengthen the HOA members.
Yes. I've asked her, she wasn't able to be here today, I asked her last night if she could find out the name of the legislation. I'd like to know that. We can't push it or follow it if we don't know the name of it. So yeah, that's definitely another angle. Plenty of directions for us to go, guys. We're not stuck. Okay, we're just doing the same old, same old. That's all. It's time to change. It's time to grow. We're 50 years old now. All right? We're not the same community from 50 years ago. It's time to change. Hopefully we can do it as a community. Any other questions?
I just want to point out that if you want to go to a management company, it's going to require a vote of the board of directors.
I understand that.
Getting back to the 3 people this year.
Well, and yeah, I agree with you, but there's also, again, I'm not arguing and conflicting with the lawyer told me. Yes, you're right, but we can also go the long and hard way too, and do a vote and send out ballots and do a directive action meeting, and we can get, it's a hard way to go, but it is a way to go. I understand. I would rather put new people into place that can are supportive of it.
Your lawyer is saying that members can vote and make this
Members
place
can call for a special meeting to take directive action. That's what I've been told. That is a expensive way to do it, Joe, because you have to do a mailing with ballots and everything else coming back and proxies. That's not the choice. The choice is to work with our board. The choice is to, or as you say, put on 3 different board members. I don't know, but we keep doing this. We keep replacing board members. It's the same game. I'm sorry, who's first? You gotta stand up, honey, I can't hear you.
Do we know why the HOA, the Legum group wasn't chosen? Why did the board, what was the reason the board?
Brett, do you know that answer, or Joe, do you know that answer?
I couldn't hear it.
Why Legum and Newman wasn't chosen? Does anybody know the answer?
My understanding is there was a vote that went like 4-3 against, and that one individual on the board the day before was in favor of it, and the next day was against, but.
Anyone else, Brett?
Yeah, well, it was, Director Parks was absent at that meeting, so it was only 6 people at the meeting, and going into the meeting, I thought it was 4-2, and Director Supik backed down from it and wanted more time to consider additional options, and so it stuck at a 3-3 stalemate, so it didn't proceed.
Why would we have an important vote like that without all members of the board present?
That's a huge issue.
Can I say something? I don't know how many of you followed all of this discussion, I heard pieces of it. I came to board meetings. I watched it at home, did my laundry, whatever. I caught bits and pieces of what that was about, but I didn't understand it. I didn't know how bad these systems were out here. I do now. I didn't know that we needed to do something, and I couldn't understand what they were talking about. Did any of you understand it? Did you really understand? So we could tell the board what we thought and we wanted, and it's time to do something. And maybe some of them would have thought about it differently, and maybe they'd have voted differently. I mean, did any of us really step up and express our opinions on this in a great number where it would have made a difference? I did not understand what was going on, and I listened. I had bits and pieces of information. And I mean, I don't know if you guys got it, maybe you heard and understood everything, but I keep finding myself in that position, and because I found myself in that position a lot more this year, I started looking under the cover. I want to know what's going on out here. I want to know if these are rumors I'm hearing. I want to know if it's really what's happening. And if I could tell you what I have been told and found out some of it's happening, it would not be pretty. So I'm not calling names. I'm not putting people out there because I shouldn't do that. But there's a lot of stuff under the cover around here. And they're thinking, oh, we'll put this system in. We don't even know how much it's really going to cost yet. I know architecture. I worked on all that. And it's like, 400 is not going to get it. I can tell you that right now. And we're going to lock it down, make it harder to do something out here. We're going to have better inventory control. We're going to get all the requirements we need to run this HOA is not in one piece of software they're going to buy. It's going to be in a couple of packages of software they need to buy. We don't need to be running the software. We don't need to be doing this. We need to hire somebody to do it. That's what Brett's talking about. And with the background I have in IT and the parts I've put together, I don't agree with what we're going to do in the way of buying software and having Ocean Pines use it for the accounting, for the departments. I think it needs to go a totally different direction based on what I found out. I mean, that's how deep you have to get involved and understand this. Then if enough of us do, we have an opinion we can take to the board. And I would like to think that our 7 board members would listen to us and try to understand, we don't agree with you. We found out more information. We're not complacent. We're not sitting back here. We're not running off and doing something else during a meeting and didn't hear any of this. We've now got involved and we want to do something about it. It's like she said, I've been on a witch hunt before. I was on a witch hunt for Brett last year.
Congratulations now.
He did some things I didn't like. But now I see I was wrong, and I will admit it. And I've done that to other board members. I apologize to them. I want to see this community be better. I don't want to move out of here, but I'm almost to the point where I'm tired of it. And I'm considering, do I really want to stay here another 10 years? If God gives me 10 more years, because I'm 70, do I want to keep living here and put up with this?
Well, he's not going to take you anytime soon, I can tell you that. He's not going to take you anytime soon.
I've been one of these complacent people. 16 years I've had a place in here. I'm not complacent anymore. I want this to get better. And here's another little thought for everybody if you hadn't really got it yet. The money that we're losing through theft or whatever in the hell's going on out here, and there's a lot of it in every department, our assessment would not have to go up. We'd be making some money in these departments with these amenities. They would sustain themselves and they quit having to take our money to prop it up and balance a book or whatever. And then maybe we get some of these other things done that we want to use the money for. And it wouldn't go for that. And that's kind of the point that I've come to with this. We need to do something to make that change. We need to talk to our neighbors. We need to talk to our relatives that live out here. We need to talk to whoever we got to drag in. The part-timers, maybe they need their own special little meeting part-time. However, they can come in and do it later. Bring them in. This doesn't need to stop today. Mail list, put your name on it. They need to get on a mail list. They need to get the information that can be pushed out through a mail list, if that's the way to get it to them. And let's get people involved and step up and try to maybe help the board in ways we've never done. Yeah, we got committees, maybe we did some different committees. Let's try to help them fix what's going on out here. And I don't want to get rid of JB, I like him. He's the general manager, and I think we need to start a conversation with him and let him work with the board to make some of these changes along with us. That's his job. So it's like, that's my say.
You can't be complacent.
No.
Get them down there. I'm just curious, and the people that are here today, and I'll answer your question in a moment, how many people here have a background in finance, real estate, anything like that? Anybody finance, real estate? How many people have a background in accounting? Okay, how many people have a background in law? Okay, we have a community that's full of professionals who are experienced in these areas. You need to be involved. You need to help the board and help the departments do a better job. Complacency is going to be the death of us. It is. We have all of us, a lot of us in the community who can really assist with just our whole background. Okay, our community is a large retiree community. The retirees are the best source of information and wealth of knowledge. Any, Dan?
Yes, we retired down here, we live on Ocean Parkway.
Yeah.
Been here 2 years. First year we had a lot of work going on in the house, so we were kind of absentee owners. The people that are absentee owners, you're right, we don't get all the information. We send out a ballot for re-elections. Why in that ballot can't we highlight and say approve, don't approve, agree, disagree? Especially with the yacht club. I'm sure there's people that are part-timers that probably would like to have a say about the yacht club, but obviously, I open up the thing, election day, and I want to know who's running, I want to buy one, but it would be nice to include something that would also say, what do you think of the yacht club? Do you think we ought to run it? Do you think it ought to be outsourced? No, yes, no. Just get an opinion from people that aren't here all the time. There's a lot of people that aren't here that offset the little bit of people that are here. I think it's running like 60-40, maybe Marty or one of the other people can tell me what the full-timers compared to the part-timers are. But it'd be nice to put something in there, say this is what we're looking at. Do you agree? Don't you agree? Do you have an opinion on it? And then present that to the board too, because there's a lot of people that don't have an opinion that can't come to these meetings. Like the lady said, that they're at odd times, they're during the week. It might be something to think about.
Steve, you were on the board of elections, you told me, correct?
Elections Advisory Committee.
Okay, is that a question more I would direct towards you?
I would have to get some, I'm not sure if that can be included with the ballot, there may be some restrictions in NO6 that would make that impossible. Finding out what people want, I'm all for that.
Yeah, I mean, it's just work and effort to put something out. Yeah, just put your opinion on it.
Just to give you a little bit more information, last year, there's 8,452 lots. That means there's 8,452 potential votes in Ocean Pines. Last year, we had about 3,400 ballots cast.
Wow.
Okay, so there's half the population doesn't even, they don't care, put it that way. They're not voting, they're not expressing their concerns. And so I'm not sure having a ballot helped. We had 40 ballots that were returned that the top of the ballot clearly said, vote for 2 people. 40 people voted for 3. Come on, folks, we're not dumb. We ought to know how to mark a ballot. I mean, there's a lot of things that we can clean up around here that are messy.
But with some information is better than no information.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. There may be other ways to get it other than a ballot.
Maybe some
Should we send it on a different, separate piece of paper?
Right, exactly, anything.
But you have to be careful. You cannot put anything else in the envelope with your ballot.
No.
Because it will disqualify your ballot.
Send it separately.
Okay, guys, this will be something we'll have to discuss another time. Marty, you had something, and Frank, I'll get to you.
You know, we have a quarterly report, and it is a household, and there's no denying that. CCOP, other places I've been associated with, wanted information. I don't believe Ocean Pines in the past has wanted or cared about what those pesky non-residents want. By simply taking and putting a tear sheet postcard questionnaire in that monthly or quarterly report. It costs nothing unless somebody fills it out and puts it in the mailbox. Now we've got maybe somebody, I'm sure we have an employee around here that's got enough spare time to read them. And I don't know why we don't want that information.
That's something we should definitely look at.
We don't want it.
Frank?
Okay. Just in full honesty, I had the strategic planning committee. For 13 months, the board of directors have had 24 questions in front of them to go out in a community survey that when we first met, when Brett was acting general manager, we were told that the cost to the association to conduct the survey and actually do mail the questions to every lot owner would basically be nothing because there were enough pages left to handle the questionnaire.
When we first talked about it, we were going to put it in with the bill.
Right.
Because everybody's got to open that bill and pay it.
Right.
So that was the original strategy, to put it with the bill so there would be no cost to send it out.
And that in itself was no cost to 8,400 homeowners. We were also going to make it available electronically through SurveyMonkey, which would have cost $400. Okay? Those questions have sat in front of the board for 2 mailings, including the one that is supposed to go out with year's assessment. And the committee basically has said to the board, look, this is just a channel of information. You have a lot of them, okay? It's your choice to do it or not, but the questions basically haven't changed over the last 13 months, okay? And most recently, the communication was, if you want to do it in mailing, let us know so we can send instructions with the mailing on how to do it electronically if somebody doesn't want to go out longhand 24 questions. Okay, we've received no response to this day.
And this has been 13 months?
13 months.
Let me ask you, Joe, how many new board members have changed out in the last 13 months?
Brett was replaced by Ted Maloney, and there were 2 people,
So, how many board members have changed out in the last 13 months?
maybe 3.
So, we've already changed out 3 board members. Has anything changed?
Nope.
No. That's my answer. Not
More than
to
likely,
Mr.
they don't even know it's there
We
anymore.
had to put 3 new people in, and the same shit's happening. I'm just pointing out a point. So you're talking to 3 new board members, and you still can't get this looked at, right?
Yeah, but to follow up on that, Joe has, if you listen to what Joe said, and if you listen to what Brett said,
Sure.
look, here's the key. You know, electing people to the board of directors that are dedicated to preserving the institution is going to get you nowhere. You gotta elect people to the board of directors that are willing to look at outside management, that are willing to do things to break the institutional habits that we have that are bad.
That's it.
And until you do that,
That's it. That's the answer.
until you do that, you were fighting not against, you're not swimming upstream like a salmon, you're fighting a tsunami, because I guarantee you, no matter how many people you arm with pitchforks and torch to attack that building, they will have more armed people to stop you from achieving what you want. The way to do it is to get 4 people on that board that are willing to look at the institutional changes. When I talk institutional changes, let me make it real clear, because as Joe said, there's a lot of people that get emotional and they're not studying the facts and they don't know what they're talking about. But I'll sum up, and only because Tom is here. In a board meeting where more of you showed up than is typical in any meeting except the annual meeting, he asked, if I'm correct, the following question. How do we know that the procedures in the deep dive audit have been implemented and are being followed? Okay? I think that question from the board should have been phrased a little different. It should have been to the general manager, and it should be prove to us that those procedures have been implemented and show us that they are being followed. That's the difference between oversight and micromanagement. The board needs to oversee what's happening in that building, or we will never make progress.
Hi, Esther. My name is Laura Whitaker. I live in the park with all the old people. I just want to say thank you for taking your time and effort to put this together.
together. I've been to several board meetings, I've never seen a discussion like this where people actually have enough time to talk and say what they want to say, and I think I'm loving it. And the strong women who are here leading this young lady in the corner there, I'm sorry I don't know your name, you taking this on, I just think it's fantastic. And however it turns out, you know, I just think just what's happening right now is awesome.
Thank you very much, I appreciate that. So the next step, let's talk about that. Again, my thoughts is I'd like to start looking at HOAs with some other people in the audience, like Frank, to help me, and looking at HOAs to see if that's a possibility to bring in. Show of hands support for HOAs. I'm going to start moving on that. I'd like to meet with the board. I'd like to meet with the GM. Do I have any priorities here who are interested in sitting down with the board and the GM to go over what we talked about today? Please raise your hands. Okay, I'd like to see me after the meeting. Let's just not make this about talk. Listen, it's really easy to get negative. It's really easy to be at the bar, be at the pool, be wherever and bitch. It doesn't do anything for us. Bitch on the forum, it doesn't do anything for us. We're not doing anything for us. We've got to stop that. I can't take the negativity. I can take a lot of things. The negativity drives me insane. We want to do this. Let's do this together. Let's try. I don't care about the other groups that did it. Let's today. But leave the negativity out of here. I don't want to hear it. Okay? It absolutely does not help us. Let's work together as a community. And hey, let's give it our best shot and see where we land. But I think we have a real positive energy in this room, and I think we have a real ability to make this happen. But it's not happening tomorrow. It takes systematic structure to do, and we're going to start with the board and the GM. If there's anything else, I thank everybody for coming to this meeting.